Hey dudes, it's Llarold. It's been exactly one season since we last talked about delves on this channel. I started off that last video by saying delves were in bad shape, and unfortunately that's still true, for different reasons. No matter how things change, they always stay the same. Delves are back on people's minds, including my own, due to doing the weekly quests to unlock and upgrade the disc belt, and this seems like the perfect time to talk about them again. So let's start off here by saying that we both like the idea of delves, but they are a missed opportunity in several different ways. The majority of the issues are design decisions that sacrifice fun in order to keep players playing longer. Delves can go in much more interesting directions than they have so far. If Blizzard really keeps iterating upon them, they could become a distinct alternative to raids and dungeons that is fun and rewarding. A better version of delves is possible. So that's the intro. Join our Discord in the description and say hi to me and Sunset. Okay, this is going to be a critique of delves, but I don't just want to be Mr. Negative, so let's start off with some of the positives, the things we both feel delves do really well. First off, delves being a single-player in-game content avenue is a really good idea. This was Blizzard's initial sales pitch with delves, something for individual players to do that gave a consistent end-game reward. A different avenue of gameplay from Mythic Plus and raids that could stand on its own, not just simply be the Mythic Plus training simulator, and have a comparable reward structure to it. Another real strong point of delves is the daily story rotation. The way that delves swap their stories around each day is just a really good design decision. Blizzard has done a good job of not making each instance feel super monotonous by doing this. Even just 3 or 4 stories in each delve really mixes things up enough. This was something that happened back in MoP with scenarios, doing the same exact scenario every single time, and it was a pretty serious concern when delves were first announced, and Blizzard has done a good job of avoiding that. The next positive here is really simple. They just didn't try to do too much with the combat. Combat in delves is basically the same as it is in dungeons, and I guess in raids, and that's a really good thing. Combat in WoW is really good right now. It's some of the most fun that it's been in years. We are both really glad that they haven't tried to add any kind of delve-only active skills. Delves don't need it. The combat is good enough as it is. Now, they have added in the overcharged delve talent tree, whatever that little console is called, and that is a really successful addition. This talent tree adds a lot of offensive and movement speed bonuses that are really fun. They're strong, but they're passive. This is perfect. If overcharged delves were just the default state for all delves, that would be a considerable upgrade to delves as a system. More on that later. Alright, now let's get into the problems with delves. The first big issue is monster health scaling as you increase the difficulty of delves. So tier 1 delves, we've run around those a whole bunch, and characters that aren't even like 600 item level and everything dies instantly. That's fine, right? They're supposed to be easier than a heroic dungeon. Fair enough. But as delves progress up to the top of the reward structure, doing 11s, the monster health scaling is out of control. Monsters and delves have enormous health pools relative to the difficulty of the rest of the content. Monster health tuning in groups especially is completely broken. Regular mobs will have hundreds of millions of health. We can do a pull in a delve with 2 players in it, and I'll do as much damage as I would in a plus 12 Mythic Plus dungeon pull. For some reason, adding a second player to a delve increases monster health by over 250%. It's almost triple. Why is this? This more than doubles the amount of time that players spend killing monsters, since players usually don't multiply each other's damage by 250%. Maybe you'll get 3% more damage out of a Demon Hunter buff or something like that. The numbers just don't add up. Even if monster health was exactly doubled for each person that gets added, or 100% increased, whatever, that would still be bad. If you and the person that you're playing with deal exactly perfectly equal damage by some miracle, then you're both doing your part. Everyone's holding up their end of the bargain. No one's making content harder and slower for the other player. No one's getting carried. But in the current state of tuning, in reality, everyone loses. The content is slower and longer for everyone in the group without being any more rewarding. I guess you could count the joy of suffering together with a friend, but that's about all you get. The goal of delves probably should not be suffering. Problem number 2, Bran. He is allegedly a helper who can tank, heal, or deal damage. There's just one problem: he doesn't deal damage. He regularly gets out DPS by Sunset when she's playing Arresto Shaman. He gets absolutely vaporized by me when I'm on Rot Paladin and Brewmaster Monk, paragons of bad tank damage. He's also annoying. He spams the same handful of voice lines pretty frequently. Blizzard is aware of this, and they even used it in the Season 2 Delve intro quest, which was admittedly fun and cute and whatever, but then they didn't actually do anything about him in the Delves. The annoyance persists. Now, I remember Blizzard saying very clearly that we were going to get different Delve companions every season. Instead, they cut corners and we got Bran wearing a different hat. We can even go on a quest to get his original hat back. That is canon. Honestly, I kind of respect that. It is making lemons into lemonade. All of this culminates into the biggest issue of Delves, which is that they are slow. This is a combination of the other two issues, really. Bran's damage is horrible, monster health scales up too high, and so the combat just feels way too slow. Monsters in Delves aren't particularly threatening even in large pools, but they live forever because they have so much health. It's a training dummy simulator. When you finish a plus 11 Delve, you get a quest to complete a plus 2 mythic dungeon. By the time you're able to complete a plus 11 Delve, you should be able to sleepwalk through a plus 2 dungeon. So if Delves are kind of a training mode for dungeons, why are they slower and less rewarding? Then I have some true head-scratching issues associated with Delves, and that would be the Bountiful Delve and Key system. Bountiful Delves make it so that the rewards you get from non-Bountiful Delves are less than you get from a random world quest. There are only 4 Bountiful Delves active per day. As for the key system, you only get 4 keys a week. This requires doing content like Awakening the Machine or the Theater Troupe. The latter of which we both really do like, but why is that necessary? Awakening the Machine is the worst content Blizzard has created in the past 10 years, even including Diablo 4 and Warcraft Rumble. It just makes no sense. Delves are intended to be an in-game content avenue like raids or Mythic Plus dungeons, but you're limited to 4 pieces of normal track gear per week, 1 piece of heroic track gear, and that's it for Delves. The limitation of 4 rewards a week and doing an hour or more of chores beforehand to unlock that is crazy. I've had a lot of experiences this expansion in which I log onto an alt and I think, I could pop off a couple of quick Delves, that would be fun. Then I check the currency tab and I see 0 keys, and so I just log off. I am done with WoW for the day, the machine remains asleep. But that isn't even the biggest issue here. The reward structure does not align with the effort required. Spamming plus 2 mythic dungeons is more rewarding, faster, and easier than completing plus 11 Delves. And it doesn't have a time limit, and it doesn't come with a limit of 4 runs per week. If Blizzard limited players to 4 Mythic Plus dungeon chests per week, the game would be dead. It would die instantly. There's also the issue of the overcharged Delve system. Only 2 Delves at a time are overcharged. This is building off of a lot of the issues from the Bountiful Delve system. The limitation of 2 or 4 Delves being available at any given time is totally unnecessary. All of this heavily limits your ability to do the Delve that you want to do and receive a meaningful reward from it. Dungeons do not have this series of limitations placed on them, and people like dungeons. Coincidence? Of course not. Alright, I have a question for you, the viewer. I'm going to describe a hypothetical situation here. Okay, here goes. World of Warcraft players do the content they want, they run it as much as they want, they get rewards, they have fun. Somehow this is a bad thing. And here is the question. Why is it bad? Sunset and I have been racking our brains all weekend trying to figure this out, and frankly, we're stumped. We're having to crowdsource an answer here. Why limit gear to 4 pieces a week? Why make only a few Delves bountiful or overcharged at any given time? Why bother with any of these limitations? The only answer that either of us can really come up with is making the content last longer, and that's really not a good excuse. Alright, that's enough diagnosing, now let's start problem solving. What can Blizzard do to fix Delves? The temporary power and damage increases from overcharged Delves are a great start. They also help distinguish Delves from dungeons without overcomplicating the combat. Making them account-wide like the overcharged talent system is right now is something that we both like. Making them be a per-character weekly chore like upgrading the belt? Not so much. Delve-oriented gear pieces in general are not really a great idea. Blizzard should give players the option of telling Bran to leave and then remove the added monster health scaling that he's burdening you with. This is something that they played around with in Horrific Visions, and it worked really well. Bringing in the NPC made monsters have more than double health, so pretty simple fix. You just don't bring in the NPC, and then horrific visions feel great. They feel much more dangerous and challenging, but also less slow and tedious than delves. Perfect execution of an old idea. So being able to just drop Brand from the group would fix most of the monster health scaling issues that he is causing. They could also just buff his damage by like 500%. Either way could work, but the bottom line is, no more free carries for Bran. We've had enough. As for the other issue, keys, the bountiful delve system in general, and the way that delves swap around from day to day should probably just go away. Just let players run the delves that they want without awakening the machine every week. They're not using that machine to, I don't know, mine dwarven cryptocurrency, just let it sleep. People continue to run dungeons that they don't like. I do Priory of the Sacred Flame all the time. I'm never gonna like it, but I continue to do it, and I will do it in Season 3 as well. I will also run delves that aren't my favorite if I want achievements or rewards from them. If Blizzard creates a delve leaderboard, you better believe I will be running the sinkhole over and over again to try and get the highest score. And on that note, delve leaderboards. Last idea, best idea maybe? I don't know what the right criteria is for making a delve score system, but it really works for Mythic Plus. It makes people want to push higher in pursuit of a number that means absolutely nothing. Would that work for delves? Come on, we're WoW players. You already know the answer is yes. So that's the state of delves, what's good, what's bad, and what Blizzard can do to make them better. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and join the Skipping Sleep Studio Discord and say hello to me and Sunset if you haven't already. And finally, thank you to all of our channel members. If you want to support us so we can keep making more WoW content, become a channel member as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.